What's going on, Soul Tribe? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and are you ready to set some intentions for this week? We got some interesting ones. A lot of the stuff is going to be some repeat transits that we've had with Venus and Mercury that are going retrograde. They're going to be Mercury's going to be forming its second conjunction with the North Node. Venus is doing its second conjunction with Saturn, and so we have a lot of and also Venus is going to be trining Mars again. So there's a lot of opportunities here for really thinking about, is this the direction that I'm wanting to take my journey? Am I really manifesting, or am I really taking the actions to create all of the things that I want for myself in this journey? I think it really can get into some deeper things here. Then we got the Sun and Big Papa that are going to help create the opportunities for that. So we'll get into all that here in a moment. But if you're new here, again, my name is Justin, and one of the things I do in this channel is talk about the Celestial News Weekly, the chit chat that goes on up in the sky. And I'll be covering the week of April 3rd through the 9th. And let's get into this thing. Because on a Jupiter day, the 3rd of April, Mercury is going to be forming, which is retrograde, is going to be forming its conjunction with the North Node, which is happening at 27 degrees and 17 minutes of Pisces. And so you want to check to see where you have this in your chart, to see what theme that Mercury is going back over. Because when you think about Mercury, that's how we understand things, how we communicate, how we process, and when Mercury's retrograde in Pisces, this is not Mercury at its strongest logically. This is more Mercury at its more stronger when it's working with its creative thinking, when it's working with kind of symbols and dreams and inspirations and things. And I think that this is really kind of thinking about when we're talking about the North Node, this theme, wherever this North Node is lighting up for you at this time. How am I going about this? How am I tackling these subjects? Do I feel like do I feel like I'm really getting the most out of this theme? Or again, can I do more for this? The retrogrades are meant to be a reflective time for this. And if you think that you can put in more, let's say this is happening in your finance house, and it's just like, you know what? I think that I've hit like a plateau here and I'm ready to take this to this next level. Then maybe we're thinking about South Node, whenever there's an aspect with the North Node, we're looking at the South Node as well. And the South Node is looking back to the past where you gather wisdom. It's like, okay, this is where I've been spending my resources, whom I've been sharing them with. You know what? I need to make some adjustments in order to get the money flowing this way so that I can invest in my dream or whatever this happens to be going forward this way. That would just be one kind of loose example of working with this. But you want to make sure that, do you feel like you're getting at least on a base level, do you really feel at ease with these themes this kind of Pisces themes of your chart? Because I say that because the Sabian symbol for this is phase 358 of Pisces. I'd like to do these for the conjunctions and the retrograde and direct points. But the Sabian symbol for this is a fertile garden under the full moon reveals a variety of full-grown vegetables. And that's nice. A lot of abundance. It speaks to the growing power of the moon and not just it's not like in a field. This is really more concentrated growth that's talking about here. Things that are tailored to your specific needs and things. And the keynote for this is the full satisfaction of the individual's basic needs. So again, this is so let's say if this is happening in your relationship house, do you feel you're getting the most out of your relationships? Are they helping you grow? Do you feel like you're helping your relationships grow? In what ways do either you, them, or we need to invest into in order to improve this thing? So it's just like, are we, or is there something lacking here, where they're not. Maybe this is coming up in your fifth house, and it's just like, what? Do I feel like I'm expressing myself as well as I could? I have this rich imagination, but I keep it bottled up. Maybe I've been, I can put myself more out here this way. Maybe I can get involved in some sort of thing. So these could be the sort of things that may be coming up for you. And again, Mercury's going to come over this point one more time. So this is the time where, whenever look back to see when Mercury first had this conjunction, and think about what were some themes that were coming up then. And it's like, what? This would be the time to make that course correction where it's like, I may have missed it that first time. I can catch it this second time here. That's the beauty of these retrogrades. Now, let's get into the next day, our next transit, because on a Venus day, the 4th of April, at about 6:08 p.m., Mars is going to be forming a trine with Saturn, and this is happening at 24 degrees and 58 minutes. Mars is in Cancer and Saturn is in Pisces. Now, Mars and Saturn, they're the two malefics, and that's how they were recognized in traditional astrology. But that doesn't mean they always have to stir up trouble. They may stir up some things, especially with Mars being in Cancer, because this is where Mars experiences its fall, and Mars has been in Cancer in a while, so this has been a time for us. And Mars is about to move out of Cancer here soon, so this can be the time to look up to see what were some maybe emotional things, because this was a jam-packed month, this last of all of March that we went through. How did you process this Cancer portion of your chart here, and what are some things that you're wanting to, what is this new version of yourself looking like going forward? Where do you feel all of these lessons were trying to move you? You know what I mean? That would be the way to be asking these questions, taking these short term or taking these actions now to create some real kind of long term stability with this Mars and Saturn here. Because the one thing I like about Saturn, and we're definitely going to talk about that when we get to the conjunction with Venus, but Saturn, yeah, he can bring about, constrictions, restraints, and rules and regulations, but also brings structure, brings form. And to do that in Pisces, that's a really great time. This is a really great time to be working with Saturn, to make your dreams come true, to make any sort of like corrections where, let's say this is, I'll give you an example. This was Mars has been going through my 12th house, which is not initially, especially in the retrograde, it wasn't that. It was a little bit tougher there. But by the time Mars got to my Sun placement and, kind of past my nodes and thing, it was just like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I see what was coming up for me. So this gives, because the trines give movement. Let me actually talk about that too. The trines bring movement. They can bring this new opportunities. There's an ease that comes with the trines here. So this was a time where I was able to work through those sort of 12th house themes, those feelings of sorrows and other people's sorrows too, and then being responsible, that 8th house, because that's where Saturn's transiting through for me, knowing how much I can give of myself and how much I need to put into myself. I've got that sort of balance there, and it created this new, I've been getting into these new rituals. It's been really nice. And then I've been able to share that with other people too. So that's been another way that's been shown up for me. So that can be just like some examples of how this energies can look like for you, but how the malefics can maybe turn, because the 8th house and the 12th house, those themes, they're not that great. But they can, when you work with them, it's like, okay, why don't I feel they're not that great? Because maybe there's this area that I need to work on and this area that I need to work on, and Saturn's saying this and Mars has got me feeling like this. So it's like, you know what, okay, I see what the problems are, let's fix them. And so then they become motivators, you know what I mean? So that's the way I would say to kind of work with this Mars and Saturn trine, because otherwise, if because this is the last time that Mars and Saturn, this is the third time that Mars has talked to Saturn like this. So if there were lessons, in this house that you were ignoring, maybe there was something with, personally that you're going through, financial, community. If you've missed those themes, then there may be some tension when Mars gets to where it's like, where we get to like maybe around like the opposition with Saturn, maybe some things kind of come up there. So that's just something just to think about there. But let's get into the next one, which is a really exciting one, these next couple of transits. On a Sunday, the 6th of April, at about 2:44 a.m., the Sun is going to be forming a sextile with Big Papa. And this is happening at 16 degrees and 50 minutes. The Sun is in Aries and Jupiter is in Pisces. Now, this is where the sun is shining, where the sun is really bringing about a lot of inspirations, where we really can step up in our lives here. So this is pay attention, during this time. Where's the sun transiting? Where do you have Aries in your chart? What house or houses is this activating for you? Because the sextile, that's when the planets are 60 degrees apart. They're creating this opportunity. It may seem like a small transit, but it's kind of got like a Venusian sort of flavor, but you'd be surprised. One opportunity, you go through one door and then it opens up something bigger for you. The only thing that I can maybe see that might be a little tricky with Jupiter being a detriment in Gemini is that we're feeling this sense of inspiration, but there are so many ways to go about doing it. So this is where you're going to want to really kind of trust what feels right for you, because we're in a lot of water energy. We have Mars, Saturn, Venus, and Mercury all in water signs, and the North Node all in, just a lot of water energy. So this is a lot of intuitive feelings, but that doesn't mean we're not doing anything. You feel this stuff out and then you put it into action. This could be maybe learning something. This could be communicating with different people. It may not be the tangible thing taking form yet, but at least we can start getting the blueprint for it, really start getting an idea, getting a map of it, if you will. That can be the physical side. And then we're going to take that image off the map and then boom, and then we're going to give it some earth, especially around when the sun gets into Taurus. That'll probably be when things really start to get a cooking. So this would be, I think, a great one to be thinking about. What ways do you want to expand? Where do you feel you're being guided to? What are those sort of like intuitive nudges? And then allow that sun in Aries to just express that and to explore it bravely. You know what I mean? This could be where maybe you're exploring different cultures, different beliefs, or maybe you're changing your career, or maybe you're doing something with your home space. Maybe you're changing something with your job. Again, apply to your situation, but this can be a really great opportunity for something really very, very positive, I think, to happen here. And then a little bit later in the day, well, really in the morning, at about 5:13 a.m., Venus retrograde is going to be forming a trine with Mars. And so this is going to be happening at 25 degrees and 29 minutes. Venus is retrograde in Pisces and Mars is still in Cancer. But see, we got a lot of like trines and sextiles here, and they're all sandwiched between two conjunctions. You know what I mean? So this is the time where it's like this Mercury one is starting this thing off and Venus is going to end it off here. So Venus is how we attract things, how we create things, especially in Pisces. Venus has a lot of creative power here. She's so abundant during this period of time. This is where Venus is exalted in. So this would be a really great time for you to be thinking about the things you want to attract and what you've been feeling like you want different in your life, and then move it in that direction, because Venus, and it's that thing that just in your body, you really feel this at a core level. This is where, again, imagination is very active, with Mercury being here, with Venus being here. It's not, maybe won't make a lot of sense, but it doesn't need to. This is something where just allow the imagination to kind of come together. I'm just looking at the clouds right now. Looking at the clouds and allow the form, don't rush the form. It's coming together. It's gonna become something here in a minute. I feel it. So again, this is a great time to do some great visualization exercises. I think this would be really great for that, doing some very intentional, like meditations and things like that. I think this would be a really constructive way of working with this Venus trine Mars energy here, because Mars is passionate, Mars is drive. And so this could be even too where maybe you've been denying yourself, where you feel like, I want more. Again, that Cancer energy is initiatory, and when Mars learns how to work with its emotions more constructively, it's a lunar warrior, and it's able to work with the cycles and able to just move in a different type of way, move more intuitively there. So that's what it really feels kind of happening in that little pocket there. And then let's talk about this last transit. I really enjoyed this one, and I think this is where, with all these feelings and things that are coming up, even though we don't have a lot of Earth energy, that doesn't mean we can't heed the call to start making this thing come together. Because on a moon day, the 7th of April, at about 4:01 a.m., Venus retrograde is going to be forming a conjunction with Saturn, and this is happening at 25 degrees and 15 minutes of Pisces. Now, and as you see here, this Pisces energy, this Pisces house has just been lit. It's just been one thing after another with all these kind of transits going through here. And then we're going to go through one more small little wave, at least Venus is. So when we're thinking about, we've talked about Venus, and again with Saturn, this is a great one for, again, Venus is the creative ability, the things that how we can harmonize and how we can create. And then Saturn is giving all those, because Venus is a lesser benefic. And she's helping to, or Saturn's helping to give all of that Venusian energy form, to work with that energy responsibly. There's, where, yeah, Venus will give, but Saturn's like, what are you doing with the stuff that Venus is giving? Because otherwise, this is just because otherwise, just on a base level, this could just be a very just nice, easy sort of energies just coming through to feel like maybe people are just been really, really pleasant, and, and that's fine. That's definitely a great way to work with this energy, so just spread the good vibes around. But this could be something on a deeper level here, a call to action, something you really feel deep down, and this is Pisces. Pisces is connected to some, really cosmic things. Really has the ability to feel out in ranges that are just out of this world here. Now, the Sabian symbol for this one, I think, is really fascinating. We have a lot of lunar energy here, and again, the moon has this power of this growing potential with the moon. But this talks about watching the very thin moon crescent appearing at sunset. Different people realize that the time has come to go ahead with their different projects, and so this is perfect. Because I think, well, depending on when you're watching this, we would have probably just gotten out of the waxing crescent and probably getting closer to the first quarter. But it's really appropriate when you think about the crescent phase. This is where we're getting curious. This is that sextile energy, that Sun Jupiter thing. This is where we're diving into that. This is where we're getting inspired by the symbols, by feeling called to something. Tune into the messages around you. You may be getting signals for things, guidance, like little hints and things like, yeah, you're on the right track here. This is more, it'll be more than just like numerical synchronicities. This will be just like real, just very blatant kind of messages like, hey, you're doing great. Like, yeah, like keep trusting that it's all here. And then the keynote for this is keen appreciation of the value of individualized responses to any challenge of life. And this could be whether this, like, again, if this is just a really kind of easy, just sort of week for you, or if this is one where it's something where you're making a lot of course corrections. This is appreciating that people go about this life differently, and that people are going to be experiencing this stuff. Some people may be going through really deep revelations right now. Other people might just be breezing through. And I think with either one, don't think that you're not in the right place because you're not. Maybe it just depends on the chart. What's going on here. I'm going through a lot of heavy ninth house things right now. With just like with my solar return and a lot of my return charts, and even Saturn's getting ready to move into my ninth house here soon, getting ready to go into Aries. So I've been feeling a lot of spirituality, but I know that's not everyone's experience, and so that's something where it is appreciation that everyone can respond to this in different ways. We can all push the meter and move the meter whatever direction it looks like, but we have the capacity to do this and to do it together, and I think that when it's your time, it's your time. Don't feel pressured or rushed to do these things, but this could be even just if this transit just gives you that confidence of just like, what, when I am ready, I can do this thing. And if that's enough for you, then let that be enough for you. And I'm with that, because that at least entertains the capacity, the potentiality for more, of something bigger, whenever you feel ready to do that here. So, and I think that, again, that's just what this list of transit is a really just kind of looking over things. And let's change this stuff. Let's do some spring cleaning, because even though we're in this Aries season, we still have so much water that we're kind of under here. So I think that things will really start kind of shaking off and fueling up afterwards. So this is a time to just dip into the feelings one more time. Dip into and just like, is this where I'm wanting things to go? Because then, we're going to start getting kind of more settled in there. So, just something I think to think about there. But that's all I got for you. But if you want to work with these transits more intentionally, kind of see how this stuff is coming up for you, maybe you want to work with like your solar return, your lunar return, down in the description box is a way to get in touch with me, and then we discuss different services that I provide and then go from there. And then if you want to as well, I have these little series that I do in this video where I talk about different signs and different planets and different signs in different houses. So if you've just been, I just do them at random. I got these 12-sided dice here, and I just been kind of rolling and let Spirit tells me what to do. And then, we're doing Mercury next. But yeah, that's available for you as well. I have them all by playlist there, so you can check that out. And then if you want to work with the moon more personally, since we had all these lunar shenanigans in here, there's a link for my other channel, The Chariot and Friends, where I do weekly videos, or not weekly videos, I do daily videos whenever the moon changes signs, and I talk about what phase she's in and when she's going void of course, doing I Ching and a tarot card reading in there as well. So all sorts of mysticism for you, something to kind of help embrace this Pisces energy. But yeah, until next time, stay safe out there. Enjoy yourselves. Keep raising that vibration through the roof. And I will catch you on the next one, Mercury Day.